Hey guys, hope you have an amazing day. Today's analysis of gold, US oil, and Bitcoin as usual. If you're just joining for the first time and you find this content very helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And also join our Discord community where we give real-time market analysis during the week and trade signals and all the important information that will help you on the trading journey. All right, guys, with that being said, let's get on chat. So, chat is always a continuation from our last chat, and currently we're saying the chart of gold, XAU-USD. And last week, or this week rather, we saw a massive decline on gold, and that was due to the rise in US yield and the Fed positive outlook on inflation status. Although I think all this is going to be short-lived, but we saw the impact, and the impact was very, very clear. Like what we see here, we saw price drop from uh, last test at 34.30 down to what we have here at 31.40. I think we even got price drops as low as 31.25, which was very unexpected. But of course, yeah, that there was a potential for that because excuse me, I'm gonna take this one out. Just 1 second. Yeah. So of course we had that on our trend line, on the long-term daily trend line, we can see that much clearly here. So since gold recently started the last bullish move, we saw it's created this trend line over here we have here, and price has been keeping track with this trend line. And following up with the last few weeks, we've been seeing price way above the trend line, way above the 200-day SMA, and following the promise, the trade truce between US and China. And even this week, we saw a candidate, the Prime Minister of Canada, who also deigned to Trump's knees by reducing or completely eradicating the retaliatory tariffs that was imposed on US products. So all of those things had a positive impact on USD, and as well, if the USD is getting stronger, you know what happens to gold. Gold drops and declines. But I think that that's just going to be for this week because the long-term outlook for gold is still very bullish, and I'm expecting to see a complete retracement in the following weeks before the end of the month, May, which you see gold testing around that level of 3,500, and I believe we should even see higher prices as high as 7,800, before the year ends because the global economic outlook is still very, very bad. While there's a promise of decreased inflation, that's just I think that's going to be temporary relief because the overall outlook is very bad and the global tension is still very high. You see, the Indian-Pakistan war is still very, very strong. The Russian-Ukraine war, there's all the promise of peace, but that has been going on since the beginning of the year, but no significant effect has been put in place. So we expect that the tension is going to continue, and the right now we have a reduced interest in safe haven assets, which is why we see gold and Bitcoin being stuck for a while. But I think that's going to be that's not going to last for long. We're going to see market stats coming back, and risky assets going to be uh, shown away. Safe haven assets going to be back in back in business. So for now, we saw price on technical aspect, we saw price test the trend support. And that was at 3100 or 3125 thereabout. And we saw price bounce off the support as well. After the last rally towards the 34, 32. Mind you, this is also, put this here just to show you something. On the daily, you realize this is also a good resistance level. You see, that's the price close. So it was a strange also price hit here, not tested 500 anymore again. So now we saw price after testing this level fell into a descending channel, which I believe we had a breakout last week, and we also had a price retest around here. Just like that briefly. Here was our breakout, and then we also had a price retest, which tells us that there is a complete reversal in play. And with this being said, we're going to be expecting something like this, which is a typical breakout and retracement. So we're expecting price to start approaching the last all-time highs, which would be 3,500, and potential resistance at the resistance area starting from 34 or 30. So this week, I'm expecting more bullish movement on gold. I'm expecting complete retracement on gold. Following up with what I have our chat here, we can see what happened with the Fibonacci retracement as well. We saw price hanging around the 68.8% Fibonacci retracement level. That's a very strong level. Right now, we're also seeing price a bit slightly below 200-day, 200 moving average, SMA. But this would also be short-lived because, the overall fundamentals is still very, very, very bullish, and this won't last for long. So guys, for now, if you got any trade open on this, if it's a bullish, if it's a buy or a long trade, then you're safe. Good, but if it's a short trade, you have to be very, very careful. Last week we had this trade open on our Discord community, and we had very good profit on this. So I'm expecting that this week we should see price return back to this level again. So I'm going to send the trade updates on our Discord community. If you're not there, please join, subscribe, and get access to all of this content I'm going to be sharing over there. But we're going to be taking this trade on the gold to 3200 with a target profit of about 3500 long-term trade. So guys, that's going to be all for gold today. Nothing much has changed from the specs, but this is the major thing. We've seen price completely test our support zone, and price has bounced off the support zone. Price is broken out on that descending channel, which is our long-term consolidation, which we had here. But as that's come to an end already, and I expected that as well before the week ended. And from next week, we're looking at more bullish, more bullish opportunities, more buy entries, and more of that. So next we're going to be looking at is the US oil. Now, similar to gold, USOil has had this there was optimism this past few weeks about OPEC and the Middle East, cutting the supply. But uh, right now, those optimisms was what made price push back up to $63, $64. But those things are not solid because I mean there's still general oversupply of crude oil in the markets, and even with the talks of uh, trade truce, that's literally short term as well because. I mean, it's easy to talk about, let's cut this stuff, let's do that. But when there's no solid effect or no solid action taken, all of these things become short-lived. It's more like a news flash, and then the market goes back to what we're expecting. So overall, long-term outlook on oil is still very bearish. It's still very bearish. There's not so much interest in oil right now. There's too much supply of it. So I'm expecting to see price keep declining, and most of the bullish pullback will only be short-term lived. Short-term news flash, short-term explosion or whatever happens, but long-term we still have very bearish outlook on the oil. And also we saw that last week or this week rather, in our uh, stock change from the US inventory report, and so we had about 2.45 million barrels, extra in surplus. So all this tells you there is so much supply on oil, and high supply, low prices is the way it works, and there's not so much interest in even purchasing of the crude oil right now. So the market is still very bearish, and don't fall victim for the short-term bullish traps. I'm expecting to see this week price start declining back. Following up on technical analysis last week, we saw this happen. Price when the highest at $64 and was starting to drop before the eventual result was out. So expecting that following up with the breakouts below, this trend line we had here, we should see price starts dropping back. I'm going to show what I'm expecting to happen. We had this, we had a price retest, and I'm expecting to see price dropping back towards 55 price level. That's our targets. So if you're in on this trade, I'm going to be dropping down a quick trade setup. We have something like this. Now this is a good setup for this. Put this excess somewhere around here. Our target profit should be at 55. This is a low risk, high reward. So I'm expecting this to be our play out next week. If you have the trade setup running already, then you're in the safe hands. If you're not, then you should be very careful with your buy, because I don't think there's any heavy momentum to push the price of US oil any higher than it currently is right now. So the last trade we're going to be looking at is Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has not really done so much major difference because Bitcoin chart, we mainly work with the weekly charts, because daily there's too much noise. You can't really keep track of the trend on the daily chart or even the 4-hour chart. But on the weekly and the daily chart, the weekly and daily, yeah, the daily is also cool, but mainly weekly is better. You get a clearer view of the market. So we can still see that Bitcoin is in the bullish state. There is nothing changed. We're working on a long-term momentum since we broke out from this 85,000. We've been on a long-term bullish trend. So I'm expecting that we should see a breakout above our current resistance, which is currently at the 109K, hopefully at the end of May or the first week of June. So for now, similar to gold, risk of an asset are a bit the interest has been reduced just because of the temporary trade truce. But I don't think this is going to last because the underlying factors that cause all those issues have not been addressed yet. So we should see that price and interest starts coming back up both gold, Bitcoin, silver, on all the safe haven assets by before the end of this May, and I'm expecting to see higher price on Bitcoin as well, and I'm still not get a break above 20K by June because the market outlook is still very bullish on the long term. So guys, that's me all going to cover for today's analysis on gold, US oil, and Bitcoin. And if you find anything interesting, please like, share, subscribe. If you have questions, please drop in the comment section below. And also join our Discord community because there you're going to get more real-time updates, as well. I'm going to be much active over there. If you need anything, feel free to ask me over there. With that being said, have a great weekend and a profitable week ahead. Cheers, folks, and see you guys next week.